nearby countries like Niger,
Yeah.
Cameroon, illegally. Go to Cotonou, you see our products illegally, even as we talk. If you are telling us that it's because of mother and daughter transfer and whatever, that is why we are thunderstorm, you could get the quantity that is being moved out, then something is wrong. Let me tell you, what is happening in the power sector, or rather oil sector, is a collaboration of mindsets. And they know what they are doing. They collaborate to punish Nigeria. And except the system is overhauled, and except those in the key players in government, except they determined to do the right thing, it will continue. The first thing you do is to hire the right people, and also to make people understand that if anything, they will be held accountable. Not for them to come and produce new English. Watch the next one that will come, if it gets worse. They will come and tell us another gram again. They will tell you, we have enough, don't go into panic buying, yet you see it worsening. So, continuing, so that is the question. Has it been a continuous thunderstorm every moment, every day? That is the question.
price, which is very high. It's affecting the spending habits of citizens. It's making it very hard. If first subsidy is to be really introduced, I think it will make spending habits of consumers to be less, and the unit price of commodities will reduce because the transportation costs will reduce, which will make life easy for us to live.
It's really an issue that has been lingering for a very long time now. I remember coming down here to this venue today and I saw the queue in the NNPC filling station, and I feel that this is part of the reason why we're having the hike in prices of things, and something can be done. The NNPC can do something about this to make sure that fuel is readily available to every part of Nigeria.
Like now I'm doing business and I want to purchase something. I can't.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Barry Kumo Ado. In the headlines, Tinubu accepts Ngelale's resignation. Presidency disowns yacht sported in France with Nigerian flag. Minister decries vehicular emissions as top air pollutant. And Brazilian President Lula oversees Independence Day celebrations. Details shortly. President Bola Tinubu has received a memo from Ajuru Ngelale, a spokesman and special presidential envoy on climate action, informing him of his resignation for personal and health reasons. In a statement on Saturday by the presidency, the president accepted Ngelale's reasons for the resignation, fully understood them, and sympathized with the circumstances that led to his decision. While extending his prayers and best wishes to Ngelale and his family, the president hoped for a speedy recovery and full restoration to the health of the challenged members of his family. He noted Ngelale's efforts and dedication in serving the nation and thanked him for his contributions, especially in advancing national discourse and leading efforts on climate action and other key initiatives. The presidency has denied a yacht seen flying the Nigerian flag in Saint-Tropez, a coastal town in France. The report says that a video of the yacht, which displayed the Nigerian flag during a vacation in a French town, went viral on social media, sparking reactions from netizens. The senior special assistant to President Bola Tinubu on digital and new media, Ortega Ogra, in response to the video, clarified on his X page that the yacht belongs to a private individual. Ogra explained that flags used by the president or the armed forces does not feature the coat of arms, stressing that the official Nigerian flag is green, white, green, without any additional symbols. A consultant community health physician at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Itukwuazala, Dr. Ogunna Nwachukwu, has advised Nigerians to adopt their birthdays as days for medical checkups instead of mere celebration of their birth. According to him, they should channel the money used in procuring birthday cakes and other items used in the celebration for medical checkups. Dr. spoke on New Day, a breakfast show on Signature TV, lamented the high incidence of sudden deaths in the country, which is said are mostly linked to improper functioning of the heart and the lung. Such failures, he said, can be detected during medical checkups and remedial measures taken in good time to avert avoidable deaths.
World, we are not viewing a slump and die with a light microscope. because it is not a diagnosis to say, it is an umbrella, general umbrella we use to describe, it's a term we use to describe sudden, uneventful deaths that occurs within 1 hour of maybe witnessing the symptom, and then within 24 hours for unwitnessed events. A lot of slump and die, those slump, you know, you are being in activity and slump and die. But this syndrome had happened more often when people are sleeping. You say they passed away. This is equally part of slump and die. So generally it is disease or deaths that occur from natural causes. Most times, if you look at the slump and die, the symptoms we are talking, about half of it, 50% of slump and die may not come with symptoms. You will not see it. But then sometimes some of the symptoms may come and people may mistake it for some other thing. You may just wave it off. Just like in normal days, if you have a bitter taste, you blame it on malaria. If you have a headache, you blame it on malaria. So what I'm trying to say is just like something like a brain aneurysm, which is one of the foremost cause of slump and die, may come with a headache, a severe headache. You think that you'll busy be taking malaria drugs and taking all paracetamol and feel that you're having that. Then again, there's this stick neck. It may come with it, but you may not get it on. You feel like you are going. But most often, the other symptoms that you can get at may be chest pain. Somebody may be having chest pain, and then all of a sudden, within that 1 hour of having that chest pain, the person is gone. Or the person may having, let's say, shortness of breath. Before you know it, the person is gone. Though some others, that's what I'm saying, that ordinarily you see the person looking well. Within 24 hours, the person, you last see the person, you say, oh, for all I know, this person is well. But within 24 hours, you've seen that person died. And it's from natural cause. It's not unnatural cause like bullets hitting the person or some other thing, but just like natural.
The medical consultant will list as alcoholism, smoking, drug addiction and abuse, asthma and hypertension are some factors that predispose people to sudden death. He also called for more serious attention to be paid to emergency services, including the early deployment of ambulances to assist people in need of urgent medical attention instead of struggling to take the videos of such patients for the social media use.
The thing I'm just like saying that our critical care had to be up. Those ambulance services, where the passerby or onlookers can do those little things they can do, then they should pass it on to. Because first few minutes of that person's attack may determine what the person will come on.
Yeah. They
may just mess up the case by the time he's arriving at the place where they will have. So that's what I'm trying to get at. If you are there, the best you can do, not videoing the thing and sending it to what the nearest WhatsApp. But if there should be a form of education about the nearest health center around every vicinity that we can always contact. I'll start from the globally, as in from the corporate world, governments. I strongly beg and I'm pleading that our critical care services should be looked into. The ambulance services, how people are treated. You know, I believe that if the government will look in that, when I just mentioned the ambulance services, you just were like, am I in Nigeria? Am I in the world?
Yes.
So we should draw that down to be. Let ambulance services be readily available. You know, so people can call once they notice that, and then you will help save a whole lot of situation that people can't get to. Now, then on individual basis, we've already talked a lot about, you know, you checking for yourself, do that internal check. If possible, adapt this, changing your birthday cakes to birthday checks. Then try and encourage. But what still, if you have had a family history of this disease, you should try as much as possible to even double check. Then, environmentally, people should always know what they eat and where they come from. In terms of content because excess ingestion of salts and some other and fats is not good for all of us, because it's a narrow way to slump and die.
Dr. Isaac Sadako, Minister of State for Environment, lamented that vehicular emissions are the greatest contributor to air pollution in Nigeria. He made a statement in Abuja on Saturday commemorating the 2024 International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, observed annually on September 7. Salako identified other sources of air pollution, including industrial activities, illegal refinery, gas flaring, refuse burning, household cooking, and power generation, and emphasized the need to improve air quality, citing global concerns about air pollution as the world's single largest environmental health risk. The minister praised President Bola Tinubu's initiative to promote alternative fuels such as compressed natural gas, liquefied natural gas, and electric vehicles to enhance air quality. He warned that failing to address air pollution would have far-reaching consequences for public health, the economy, and the environment. Sadako assured that the government would implement measures, including tariffs and taxes, to discourage the importation of old vehicles and encourage local manufacturing. He noted that the day aims to raise awareness about the importance of clean air for human and environmental health, productivity, and economic growth. The minister appealed for collective investment in clean air, citing the global agenda to reduce air pollutants by 50% by 2030. With the continued increase in the price of fuel, residents of Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital, are worried over the difficulties they have in coping with the situation. Respondents in Ebonyi say the hike in the price of petrol is having a negative effect on the economy.
Very hard to us. The way the masses are suffering and the way I'm even to look for what I will eat. I run around now. Nobody has money now.
Appeal and appeal over and over to the country. Mr. President is not doing anything. And if we keep complaining, it's as if when you are complaining and your complaint is not, attend to. Keep complaining is to waste your time and waste your saliva.
Very hard.
As a result of the situation, some busy roads in the metropolis seem empty, with most vehicle owners going with commercial transportation.
Too much, and we are now, as of now, we are very weak. As of now, people in Okada, passengers, when we press them, we take their 500, now we are lost. We bought fuel at a high price, we can't pass at the low rates. That's lost.
The other days that they do not go to work, we contribute to the failure of the economy of the country.
The current price of petrol in Ebonyi State is 1,300 naira, with residents described as exorbitant and appeal to the government to review the price. The police command in Edo says it has commenced a mop-up of illegal arms and ammunition ahead of the September 21 governorship election in the state. Spokesperson of the command, SP Moses Yamu, quoted the state's Commissioner of Police, Nemi Iwo, saying this on Saturday in Benin. During a meeting with the chairman of political parties and their respective governorship candidates, Iwo highlighted the aim was to ensure the security of the electoral process. He appealed to the candidates to prevail on their supporters to shun all forms of violence during the forthcoming election. He assured them of adequate security to ensure that people go out to exercise their franchise without fear of harassment or any form of intimidation. Commissioner, however, reassured them that the police and other security agencies would ensure that all stakeholders, including electoral materials, were protected for a peaceful election. Solicited information that would assist the police to ensure an enabling environment for the election process. The candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the September 21 governorship election in Edo State, Asu Ihodalo, has urged the electorate not to vote for so-called homeboys will become bad children despite growing up in their father's house. Ighodalo stated this at the People's Democratic Party campaign in Igobazua, Ovia South West on Saturday. In a speech, he thanked the people and reminded them of his 3-year directorship at Okomo Oil and how he facilitated the employment of many sons of the soil to very top positions. He therefore declared that he was a son of the land by extension, promised to do more as a governor of the state for Ovia Southwest. The Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, also said that only the best is good enough for Edo State, stressing that on no account should the people allow fraudsters to become their leaders. He assured them that their votes would count and that they should go out and vote for the PDP. He said the government established a College of Agriculture to ensure that the children from the area acquired education to deter them from engaging in fraudulent activities. Still in Edo State, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, wife of the Edo State Governor, on Saturday encouraged childless women to view themselves as fruitful, full of potential and proud mothers of children who would arrive in God's time. Obaseki, accompanied by Mrs. Ifeanyi Ighodalo, wife of the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate, shared these comforting words on Saturday during a Zoom meeting with Edo women in diaspora. A comment was in response to a viral video featuring Senator Adams Oshomole's remarks about her being childless. Obaseki, while addressing more than 200 women who joined the meeting from various countries, reminded them that everyone was created by God for a purpose. She highlighted that her contributions to the society have gone beyond the biological aspects of motherhood. Obaseki also shared a message of encouragement for women who, like herself, have faced the pain of miscarriages and stillbirths and urged them not to feel discouraged or defined by their losses. Ifeanyi Ighodalo thanked the women for attending the meeting and promised to continue all of Betsy Obaseki's programs for women and a girl child in Edo if her husband was elected. In a welcome address, the founder of the group, Mrs. Adesua Obasanjo, promised to support Asu Ighodalo's candidacy just as the group had supported Governor Godwin Obaseki. Up ahead, commuters escape death as petrol tanker explodes in Ibadan. Sokoto has investor-friendly policies, Governor says. Stay with us. Commuters escaped death on Saturday when a loaded petroleum tanker suddenly went up in flames at Ajia Junction, Ibadan Ife Road, Ibadan. The driver of the tanker was attempting to divert to another lane when it caught fire. The incident left a mini truck, one commuter bus, a microcar, one tricycle, and 2 motorcycles burnt. Report says that all the occupants of affected vehicles and cycles hurriedly took to their heels, citing the petrol tanker on fire. Public Relations Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC in Oyo State, Mayowa Odewo, confirmed the incident. Odewo said officers of the command in Egbeda Axis were still at the scene and that a statement will be issued immediately after completing the operations. Former Vice President Namadi Sambo has hailed the newly formed League of Northern Democrats, LND, as a vital platform to address challenges facing the North and the country. He made this remark while hosting the forum's leadership led by Chairman and former Kano State Governor Senator Ibrahim Shekarau at its Abuja residence. Sambo expressed concern about the crippling effects of insecurity on agriculture, education, healthcare, poverty, and inequality in the North and nationwide. Pledged his support for the initiative, emphasizing the need for the forum to harness experiences and resources across political affiliations. Sambo urged members to work together to meet the aspirations of the northern people, fostering sustainable peace and socio-economic development. Forum is scheduled to hold a historic summit in Kaduna in October and aims to address challenges like insecurity, poverty, illiteracy, and unemployment without political, ethnic, or religious affiliations. Vice President Kashim Shettima is expected to attend the summit. The governor of Sokoto State, Dr. Ahmed Aliyu, said that one of the major focuses of his administration is to give investors, especially small-scale business owners, an opportunity to grow. The governor will commend the management of Dakem Restaurant and Bakery for its investment drive in the state, which he said is in line with his development plan. The governor stated this on Saturday during the grand opening ceremony of another branch of Dakem Restaurant and Conference Hall in the state, represented by the State Commissioner for Commerce, Haruna Basha. The governor said Dakem investment drive is in line with his vision of enhancing the visibility of all businesses. Earlier in his remarks, the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director, CEO, MD of Dakem Restaurant, Mr. David Agboyi Adesola, described Sokoto State as an investment destination with unimaginable peace. Agboyi, who spoke Saturday during the official opening of Dakem Restaurant, Event Center, Bakery, and Playground, said Sokoto does not only welcome visitors, but equally support them to establish businesses. The Katsina State Governor, Diko Rada, on Saturday launched a tree planting campaign in Daura, marking a crucial step in the state's fight against climate change. The initiative, organized by the Katsina State Agro-Climatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscape Project, collaboration with the Ahmed Usman Pure Life Foundation, aims at 10,000 tree seedlings across the nation, with 3,000 allocated to Daura. The event held at Kangiwa Square, Daura local government area of the state, was attended by government officials, including the Speaker of the State House of Assembly and the Secretary to the state government. Rada announced that 1,000 primary school pupils would each receive a tree seedling, along with 5,000 naira as support for nurturing the trees to maturity. While speaking at the event, the Emir of Daura, Alhaji Farouk, expressed gratitude to the organizers for choosing Daura as a launch site, just as he emphasized the importance of tree planting in preventing desert encroachment. The Emir encouraged the people to actively participate in tree planting as well as nurturing. Francis Owoms, a 7th member of the National Youth Service Corps, NYC in Abia, has trained and empowered more than 150 participants, including widows, youths, and street children in the state. 5-day free program held at Umaya North local government area headquarters on Saturday equipped participants with lucrative skills such as craft making, video editing, and digital marketing. 10 participants, including 4 widows, 4 street children, and 2 youths, received 100,000 naira each as startup capital during the closing ceremony. Holmes, who hails from Imo, said he was touched by the high number of out-of-school children and young widows in the state, prompting him to organize the training. Corps member, who said empowerment was his personal community development service, CDS project, expressed gratitude to NYSC and sponsors for their collaboration. Governor Alex Oti was represented by Mr. Onyebuchi Chukwu, a special assistant on youth development, commended Holmes and reiterated his administration's readiness to collaborate for the state's development. Oti, in appreciation, said Holmes was honored with the chieftaincy title, Oluaka Chukwu I of Umuawa Alocha, meaning handwork of God, by Is it God's will? Asamoah praised the Women's Supplement Service, saying its contributions to the community are truly remarkable. United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, says it will offer endless support to Jigawa to address a high number of out-of-school children in the state. UNICEF Chief Field Officer in Kano, Rama Farai, made this known at a one-day commitment meeting with members of Jigawa State House of Assembly on Saturday in Kaduna. He said that the number of out-of-school children in Jigawa is alarming, thus needs a collective effort to address the situation. Farai lauded the State House of Assembly for its efforts in changing the narrative in the state education system, adding that it had so far passed 7 laws on education since its inception. The Chief Field Officer also acknowledged the commitment of the present administration in establishing state ministries of basic education, higher education, and other education agencies. In its remarks, the Speaker, Jigawa House of Assembly, Alhaji Haruna Dangiato, commended UNICEF for its multiple interventions in Jigawa. Dangiato pledged the commitment and support of the House in addressing issues disrupting the progress of education in the state. According to him, improving education sector is a collective responsibility that needs multi-sectoral approach. He expressed delight over the viable development achieved in Jigawa with support from UNICEF and other development agencies brought to the state. Reports say UNICEF is supporting Jigawa State Universal Basic Education Board, SUPEB, in its 2024 constituency-based commitment to reduce the number of out-of-school children. Up ahead, Trump campaigns in key states of Wisconsin. Presidential candidates cast their vote in Algeria's election. Stay with us. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump on Saturday spoke at a rally in Wisconsin, a battleground state that could decide the election as it tries to solidify support in a key part of his support base, working class and rural whites. The former president is saying his support eroded among most demographic groups since his Democratic rival in November 5 election, Vice President Kamala Harris, replaced President Joe Biden atop the Democratic ticket over the summer. Trump took to the podium in Mosinee, a town of about 4,500 people near Warsaw, a small city of about 40,000, but hours from the state's major population centers, namely Milwaukee and Madison.
We're run by stupid people. Stupid people. And we found that out at the debate with Joe. How did that work out? And we're going to find it out again on Tuesday night. Is anybody going to be watching? The whole thing is a con job. She got in. She was last. They had 22 people or something running. How Biden won, I will never know. To me, it's one of the greatest miracles. To me, it's a great miracle. But how the hell that guy won? But he won. And he got, in this one, he got 14 million votes. She got no votes. And then they put her in anyway. The bosses put her in because she's controlled by them. But she will be the worst president. He is the worst president in history. She will be worse than him. She will be worse than him. And Trump is never wrong. I am never, ever wrong. It's indicative of stupidity. And she's worse than him. He is a smarter person than she is. Oh, they're waiting for the debate. You know, if I destroy her in the debate, they'll say, Trump suffered a humiliating defeat tonight, no matter what. Although they did, you know, with Biden, one of the CNN people said that about my part, they said the Donald Trump performance tonight was the single greatest debate performance I've ever seen. 2 days later, all they did is talk about how bad he was. They didn't talk about me anymore. But no, it's a crooked system, but we're going to make it a very legitimate system again. We can do that, and I think we can do it pretty easily with people like you have over here. I think we.
Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris welcomed the support from former Vice President Dick Cheney and his daughter, former Representative Liz Cheney. The Vice President said that she was honored to have their support. Dick Cheney, in a statement, said in the nation's 248-year history, there's never been an individual who is a greater threat to the Republic than Donald Trump. He added that citizens have a duty to put the country above partisanship to defend the Constitution. That is why he will be casting his vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. The Harris campaign said on Friday that the Cheneys had joined a growing movement of Republicans putting country over party by supporting Harris.
Actually, I'm honored to have their endorsement, and I think that what they both, as leaders who are well respected, are making an important statement that it's okay, and if not important, to put country above party. And I'm honored to have their support, and I think it's an important statement right now. A lot of what I think is happening, and I was just talking with some folks here in Pittsburgh about it, is that people are exhausted about the division and the attempts to kind of divide us as Americans. And them stepping up to make this public statement, I think, is courageous, but also for people like the folks I was just talking with, it really reinforces for them that we love our country and we have more in common than what separates us. So.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Press. Let's move.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Best part of debate prep for you? What's your favorite?
Being at the spice store, I finally got out of the debate prep to look at these spices. Best part of debate prep so far. Good. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. We are all in this together.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna be fine.
We are.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Thank you so much.
Huh?
Thank you
Yeah.
so
Did you get some spices?
Oh, absolutely. I'm the best person.
Oh. It's all good. It's all good. We're standing strong, right? We love our country.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Who's this? Is this a relative of yours
No,
or just a new friend?
Just a new friend.
Hi.
I'm a lawyer in Pittsburgh here, and I just admire your work so much.
Good. What kind of law you practice?
Consumer protection.
Good for you.
I'm protecting consumers.
Good for you. You know, that's the work I did as AG.
Yes,
that's good stuff.
Yes.
That's really good stuff. Of course. Come on. Let's do it. Come on.
Oh my God, I'm shaking. Someone take it. I did not get it. Can someone take it for me, please?
Who are the yellow jackets? Come here.
They're my school.
They're your school? What school is that?
Freeport.
Freeport? What's your name?
Charlotte.
Nice to meet you, Charlotte. I'm Kamala. Are you cooking also? What are you doing here? Or did you bring an adult with you? Or are you just hanging out?
How are you?
Can I have a hug?
Yes, come here. Of course. Actually,
Trump called the Cheneys irrelevant rhino in a social media post on Friday. Using a term he applies to Republicans not loyal to him, which stands for Republicans in name only. Algerian president candidates cast their ballots on Algerian presidential candidates cast their ballots on Saturday in a presidential election where Algeria's military-backed president is all but certain to win 5 more years. President Abdelmajid Tebboune running against 2 candidates, one a moderate Islamist, Abdelhadi Hassani Sherif, and the other Youssef Al-Niche from the secular opposition, though neither seriously opposes a military establishment, widely seen as having called the shots since the 1960s. However, many Algerians will be watching to see whether turnout would exceed the 40% registered in 2019's election, held amidst a mass Hirak protest that forced Tebboune's predecessor, Abdelaziz Bouteflika, from power. Polling opened at 8 a.m. local time, closes at 7 p.m. local time. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva attended a military parade in Brasilia on Saturday to mark the anniversary of the country's independence. Supreme Court Justice Alexandra de Moraes was seen standing next to Lula, a rare sight in these events, a week after Moraes banned Elon Musk's X platform. X also failed to name a local legal representative as required by Brazilian law and ignored a deadline for compliance with court orders. A poll has shown that Brazilians are split over Moraes' order for X to be taken down in the country. A slight majority says the judge is right in his feud with Musk, but the user target fines on VPNs and the freezing of Starlink accounts in the country was seen as abusive. Thousands of supporters of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro protested against the Supreme Court on Saturday on São Paulo's Paulista Avenue. Demonstrators demanded the dismissal of Supreme Court Justice Alexandra de Moraes, who last week ordered X to be banned in Brazil after it failed to comply with orders to block some accounts accused of spreading fake news and hate messages that the judge said were a threat to democracy. Musk, who has called Moraes a dictator, accused him of shutting down the #1 source of truth in Brazil. X has shut its Brazil offices over what it called censorship by the judge. Padito Novo sought a court injunction this week to halt Moraes' ban of X, saying it was unconstitutional. Party also questioned the freezing of Starlink assets, arguing that the two firms are separate entities. Moraes declined to comment about the party's challenges. Musk, his lawyer, and Starlink did not respond to separate requests for comment this week. Bolsonaro voiced his support for American presidential candidate Donald Trump's re-election bid this year and called for amnesty for individuals detained in connection with a 2023 raid on Brazilian government building following Lula's election victory. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis promised on Saturday to increase pensions, cut taxes and social security contributions, and increase the minimum wage in 2025, as thousands rallied to protest a high cost of living. In its annual economic policy speech at a Thessaloniki trade fair in northern Greece, he said Greece will create more jobs, increase pensions by up to 2.5% in 2025, and raise the monthly minimum wage from 830 euros to 950 euros gradually by 2027. He added that social security contributions will be cut by 1 point. Greece is still recovering from a debt crisis that wiped out nearly a fourth of its economic output in 2009 to 2018 due to austerity measures that included repeated wage and pension cuts. But over recent years, it has been achieving strong economic growth, which is seen at 2.5% this year. Mitsotakis said Greece has changed with strong economic growth that should be distributed in a balanced way and be reflected in pensions and wages. He also promised to maintain fiscal prudence in line with European Union rules. Outside the venue, thousands of people rallied, chanting slogans and holding banners reading, "No to wages of starvation, and we can live differently." French far-right leader Jordan Bardella said his party was closely watching new Prime Minister Barnier's first days in office and that his government will fall were he to continue President Macron's policies. Bardella also said his party would judge Michel Barnier on his policies before taking any action, without closing the door on no confident votes at a later time. President Emmanuel Macron named Barnier a conservative and the former Brexit negotiator for the European Union as Prime Minister on Thursday, September 5, capping a 2-month search following this ill-fated decision to call a legislative election that delivered a hung parliament. The left has accused Macron of a denial of democracy and stealing the election after Macron refused to pick the candidate of a new Popular Front NFP alliance that came top in the July vote. Barnier's centre-right Low Republicans party is only the 5th bloc in parliament with less than 50 lawmakers, and the left believes it would push wholesale spending cuts and a tougher stance on immigration. The RN gave it tacit approval for Barnier, citing a number of conditions for it to not back a no-confidence vote, making it the de facto kingmaker for the new government. South Korea's Deputy National Security Advisor Kim Tae-hyo says South Korea and Japan remains committed in stopping North Korea from hiding behind Russia in its provocative acts. Kim made the comments during a new briefing after South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida held a summit in Seoul. Kishida told Yoon that the importance of bilateral ties would not change regardless of who succeeded as Japan's next leader, and pledged to help maintain the momentum. Even after leaving office, Kim said both welcomed the signing of an agreement to facilitate the evacuation of each other's citizens from an emergency in a third country, which Kishida called a symbol of growing trust. Pope Francis celebrated the Mass on Sunday with about 23,000 people at a sports venue in Papua New Guinea capital of Port Moresby. A group of indigenous performers danced and sang rituals at the start of the Mass. Pope Francis told the local populace that while they may think they live in a faraway and distant land, God is near to them. The Pope is scheduled to head to the remote town of Vanimo to meet with Catholic missionaries after the Mass. Britain on Sunday marked the second anniversary since the death of late Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's 63rd monarch, who steered the monarch through decades of social change while remaining a symbol of national stability in a shifting world, died on September 8, 2022. During her reign, the Queen's personal standing has remained high in spite of occasionally strong criticisms attracted by other members of the royal family. Witnesses in the West Bank town of Beta on Saturday described the situation which resulted in the death of Turkish-American activist Ayasin Ege. Ege was shot and killed by Israeli forces on Friday as she took part in a protest against settlement expansion in Israeli-occupied West Bank. Israel's military said its troops had fired towards a male main instigator who posed a threat by hurling rocks at soldiers. The military was looking into reports that a female foreign national was killed as a result of shots fired in the area. The details of the incident and the circumstances in which she was hit are under review. The White House said it was deeply disturbed by the death of Ege and called on Israel to investigate. Turkey's foreign ministry said she was shot in the head and blamed Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government for her death. Palestinian officials described her as a 26-year-old activist from Seattle who held U.S. and Turkish citizenship. Ege's family described her as a fiercely passionate human rights activist who had recently participated in college campus protests against U.S. support for Israel's war in Gaza. A rise in violent attacks by Israeli settlers on Palestinians in the West Bank has stirred anger among Western allies of Israel, including the United States, which has imposed sanctions on some Israelis involved in a settler movement. Anti-immigration and anti-racism demonstrators face up on Saturday in Glasgow. The two sides chanted various slogans at one another and held banners in support of their causes. Police were tasked with keeping the two sides separated, and at several points were seen noticed that the far-right turnout was smaller than expected. This most recent flare-up comes a few weeks after a wave of right-wing riots spread through the UK after false information. Now let's take a short break. Anti-immigration and anti-racism demonstrators faced up on Saturday in Glasgow. The two sides chanted various slogans at one another and held banners in support of their causes. Police were tasked with keeping the two sides separated and at several points were seen tackling demonstrators. Glasgow City Council leader Susan Aitken called the demonstrations disappointing to see, but noted that the far-right turnout was smaller than expected. This most recent flare-up comes a few weeks after a wave of right-wing riots spread through the UK after false information spread that it was an asylum seeker was responsible for the Southport stabbings. Tens of thousands of people rallied on the streets of Tel Aviv on Saturday night as anti-government protesters joined forces with demonstrators calling for a deal to return the remaining hostages held in Gaza. 11 months into the war, numerous rounds of diplomacy have so far failed to clinch a ceasefire deal to end the conflict and bring the release of Israeli and foreign hostages held in Gaza. The latest conflict was triggered on October 7 when the Islamist militant group Hamas killed 1,200 in a cross-border attack and took about 250 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. Israel's subsequent assault on the enclave has killed over 40,900 Palestinians, according to the local health ministry, while also displacing nearly the entire population of 2.3 million, causing a hunger crisis and leading to genocide allegations at the World Court, which Israel denies.
We have to shout loud that we have to bring them alive now. We cannot wait any longer. It's been enough, 11 months exactly today, that the people are dying in the tunnel. We cannot let it happen. We cannot go on with our life without thinking about them, without praying that they will come back home with us, and they're not supposed to be there.
That's a shame that good government represents us. It's a far away from what the people of Israel thinking, the majority.
The last week has made it clear that nobody can just sit still. If nobody will shout, people will use our silence. Unfortunately, our government is not thinking about the people, the citizens, about our lives or about our future. They only think, and I'm sorry for the word, but they only think about their ass, about the chair they're sitting on, about politics. They consider things that are irrelevant to people's lives, and they have the responsibility, and we do hold them accountable, and they are to blame for everything that is going on right now, for people dying, for soldiers dying, for hostages dying right now.
Family members of hostages still in Gaza accused Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Saturday of being the obstacle to a deal that could return the remaining abductees. The Prime Minister has faced heavy criticism from many in Israel for rejecting a withdrawal of Israeli troops from the so-called Philadelphia corridor, the border area between southern Gaza and Egypt, one of the main sticking points in negotiations over a hostage deal and ceasefire. The families of many hostages, including some of the 6 whose bodies were recovered from a tunnel in southern Gaza on Sunday, September 1, have accused them of sacrificing their loved ones by insisting on keeping troops in the corridor. Netanyahu insists that maintaining pressure on Hamas was the best way to return the 101 hostages still remaining in Gaza.
Hostages killed. A week ago, we stood here and warned that for the sake of his own political survival, Netanyahu is willing to let the hostages be murdered in captivity. 6 dead hostages were then brought back in body bags, just a day after being executed by Hamas. The blood of the murdered hostages is on Netanyahu's hands. Their lives could have been saved through any of the many deals he sabotaged. The lives of some of the hostages can still be saved, but Netanyahu is Mr. Death. As long as Netanyahu remains in power, we will keep getting hostages back in body bags. Netanyahu must be removed from power in order to save the lives of the hostages and the country itself. We are turning to the coalition member who have a heart. Remove Netanyahu from his seat of power in order to save the lives of the hostages and the country itself. And to the public we say, keep filling the streets in full force. Your fight in the streets enables us to push for a deal.
Instead of securing a deal which will save the hostages and the country, Netanyahu is escalating the situation in the region and dragging Israel into a multi-frontal regional war, which will lead to more destruction. The public must come together over the next days and fight with all its might. We have no time to waste. This is the moment of truth.
Ademola Lookman and Victor Osimhen were on target for the Super Eagles of Nigeria during the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers match against the Cheetahs of Benin Republic at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium on Saturday. Lookman broke the deadlock in the first half. Wilfred Ndidi pulled the Atlanta wingers through on goal, but failed to hit the target. Benin Republic's goalkeeper Satumi Alagbe made a superb save, denying Samuel Chukwueze 2 minutes before the half-hour mark. Super Eagles goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali had to be alert to stop Steve Morney's free kick 5 minutes before the break. With time running out in the first half, Lookman produced a moment of magic to give Nigeria the lead. 26-year-old dribbled past 3 defenders before firing the ball into the net. First chance of the second half fell to Nigeria, but Lookman wasted it. Benin Republic grew into the game with Money testing Nwabali from inside the box. However, substitute Victor Osimhen netted Nigeria's second 12 minutes from time. The powerful striker slotted the ball home after Ndidi set him up. Lookman scored a second of the game in the 82nd minute. Super Eagles will take on Rwanda in their next game at the Amahoro Stadium in Kigali on Tuesday. England interim manager Lee Carsley enjoyed a dream debut as goals from Declan Rice and Jack Grealish silenced their Ireland tormentors and inspired a 2-0 win in Saturday's Nations League opener in Dublin. Rice and Grealish, who both snubbed Ireland to represent England, scored in the first half of Carsley's maiden game in charge for then Gareth Southgate's exit. Southgate quit after England's heartbreaking Euro 2024 final defeat against Spain in July. Carsley, who guided England under 21 to European Championship glory last year, has stepped up on a temporary basis, while the Football Association seek a permanent successor to Southgate. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe and former Chelsea manager Graham Potter are said to be among the leading contenders. But Carsley's hope of landing the job himself were boosted by England's confident display in the Nations League Group B2 victory at the Aviva Stadium. Belarusian Aina Sabalenka beat American 6th seed Jessica Pegula 7-5, 7-5 in the U.S. Open Women's Final on Saturday. Sabalenka blocked out the wild cheers for the home hope on Arthur Ashe Stadium to break Pegula in the final game and win a first title at Flushing Meadows. 30-year-old Pegula had waited a long time to reach a first major final, but could not match her opponent's raw power despite the noisy backing of the New York crowd. Sabalenka held herself through a 4-11 game and fought through a spine-tingling 12th, mixing precision at the net with her usual power from the baseline before breaking her opponent at the 5th set point. Pegula struggled with her rackets throughout the match, complaining to her coaches as she seemed unable to find the right tension on her strings, and it looked as though she would not put up a fight in the second set when Sabalenka went 3-0 up. But the American found another level and brought the fans to their feet when she won the next 5 games in a furious fight back. Sabalenka leveled when she went over a forehand winner that just kissed the line on the break point in the 10th game and sought to bring a swift end to the contest, holding serve and then applying pressure from the baseline in the final game. The tears flowed immediately for Sabalenka as she claimed a third Grand Slam title after winning the Australian Open twice. And she high-fived fans as she ran up the stands to share a joyful celebration with our team. That's the news this hour. I am Barry Kumo Ado. Thanks for watching.
You remember what happened when the president came in and removed subsidy? Though we've not gotten to that point. But all these things are accumulation of poor preparations. You see, if you are going into a... Anybody that wants to drive will first of all learn to drive. If you want to do anything, you learn it. But in Nigeria, you learn by just name. And you run into the system. And when your car breaks down, you look for the best mechanic, not minding the tribe, not minding the religion. But Nigeria is sick. Nigeria is like a car with a lot of... But we keep on hiring the worst people on the basis of tribe and religion sentiments. How will it work? Look at NNPC. Even as we talk, we've been complaining that it needs total overhauling. Because the people there do not show any sign, have the capacity to run the system. Even after removing fuel subsidy, we've not gone out from... In fact, it's like we are fast running back to what we left before. You remember years back, we stopped experiencing queues in filling stations. Now it's coming back, and coming back with speed. As we talk, there is no PMS price in Nigeria. You cannot say that as I'm going in station A, I know how much it should be. Or you are going to finish station B. No, once you go in, whatever you see, you buy. You can come in now and they will write, like when I was coming out, the filling station where I bought fare, 950 naira. Go to other states, it's 1,000 plus. And just like that. If I take it to be 1,950 naira now, I may enter another fuel station and see 1,100 or whatever. That is the way it has become. Even the Department of Petroleum Resources that we discussed before, they tinkered it without changing any of the systems. So I must tell you that the stories that are about vessels loading from this point to they have even brought in middle persons and so many bureaucratic approach that will help them cut corners. They divert all those. In fact, even as we talk, the quantity of product leaving the country illegally is another issue. If the nearby countries are getting our products, but the city cannot get it, that is an issue. Where do they get the ones they ship out, they transfer to nearby countries like Niger, Cameroon, illegally? Go to Cotonou, you see our products illegally transferred, even as we talk. If you are telling us that it's because of mother and daughter transfer and whatever, that is why we are thunderstorm, you could get the quantity that is being moved out, then something is wrong. Let me tell you, what is happening in the power sector, or rather oil sector, is a collaboration of mindsets. And they know what they are doing. They collaborate to punish Nigeria. And except the system is overhauled, and except those in the key players in government, except they determined to do the right thing, it will continue. The first thing you do is to hire the right people, and also to make people understand that if anything, they will be held accountable. Not for them to come and produce new English. What's the next one that will come? If it gets worse, they will come and tell us another gram again. They will tell you, I will have enough, don't go into panic buying, yet you see it worsening. So, continuing, so that is the question. Has it been a continuous thunderstorm every moment, every day? That is the question.
A very good morning to you and welcome to a new day on Signature Television. And like we always say, with a new day comes new ideas, new opportunities, and of course, new possibilities. And we have so much lined up for you this morning. Of course, I'm going to be your host. I'm Chigi Chiagoram. So stick around. We have a lot of discussions to bring your way, of course, to inform you, to educate you, and to entertain you. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will hit your space with newspaper headlines and review. Stay with us. Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, this is still Signature TV New Day. And this segment, we are going to be taking newspaper reviews. We're going to be reviewing and, of course, outlining some of the headlines that have been making waves across Nigerian dailies. And first up is Nation. On the Nation today, right above the mast, Presidency accepts Tinubu spokesperson Ngelale's resignation with a rider that says his privacy should be respected. And then right below the Nations, on the Nation mast, boldly written in red, the name Dangote, free to fix petrol price, but no guarantee it will be cheaper, coming from NNPCL with a rider that says manufacturers lament new price regime. IPMAN president crisis will be over soon. Nance opts out of protest. And finally, on the Nation, teen killers on the prowl, tragic rise of child cultists. And following the Nation is Sunday Independent. On Sunday Independent, boldly written of the newspaper is CSOs predict trouble as federal government fails to tame fuel crisis, with riders. Analysts thought president's economic team will shut down streets in protest come October 1, coming from TIB. That will be found on page 2. And above the mast of the Sunday Independent, lawyer seeks compensation for victims of gas leak in Akwa Ibom State, coming. The news will be found on page 7 on Sunday Independent. Ban on Togo, Benin Republic degrees. Stakeholders want Tinubu's intervention, on page 6. And on page 8, masquerades attack APC campaign train in Edo. We're still on Sunday Independent. APC's 9 years worse than PDP's 16 years, coming from Lukman. And finally, on the Sunday Independent, protesters' treason trial will be catastrophic. Concerned Nigerians warn, ask federal government to drop all charges against protesters and release them. That is on page 3 of the Sunday Independent. And quickly, on the Punch, on the Sunday Punch today, treason charges against protesters reckless. Lawyers, CSOs knock FG. Chinese firms didn't tell court that seized planes were presidential jets, coming from Ondoka. NNPC conditions. Dangote refinery may dump local markets and export petrol, with riders that say, we are ready to buy at any price, says marketers. Motorists crowd NNPC stations for fuel. This can be found on page 3 of the Sunday Punch. Anti-party PDP panel gets report on Wike, Ortum, and Makinde. Tales of women disabled by health workers' negligence during childbirth. And finally, on Sunday Punch, heartbreaking stories of men damaged by paternity fraud. This has become a real issue in recent times. On Tribune, Sunday Tribune, right above the mast, while we are pushing for Ganduje to vacate chairmanship post, North Central Forum chairman. This will be found on page 14 on the Sunday Tribune. Saudi Arabia retains Nigeria's 95,000 slots for 2025 Hajj. Interesting. Exclusive. Shake-up in Tinubu's cabinet imminent, with riders. Non-performing ministers to go. List of their replacement ready. This will be found on page 2. Resolve your differences, save Nigeria. APC former vice chairman urges opposition party. And finally, on Sunday Tribune, new fuel price, fresh troubles, more burden for small and medium business owners, with riders that say manufacturing, petty businesses may die, job losses likely coming from Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Civil Society Coalition faults Tinubu's economic team. And finally, on our newspaper headline, Sunday Vanguard. Tough times, talking about petrol gains, tough times await parents, students, teachers as schools resume, with riders, proprietors, others devise ingenious ways to survive. NUT seeks hardship allowance. And still on Sunday Vanguard, we are not sole distributors of Dangote refinery products coming from NNPCL. And finally, on Sunday Vanguard, talking about Edo 2024, storm over campaign violence rages as Deputy Governor fires back at APC. All right, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, newspaper review will ensue. Don't go anywhere.
You remember what happened when the president came in and removed subsidy? Though we've not gotten to that point. But all these things are accumulation of poor preparations. You see, if you are going into it, anybody that wants to drive will first of all learn to drive. If you want to do anything, you learn it. But in Nigeria, you learn by just name. And you run into the system. And when your car breaks down, you look for the best mechanic, not minding the tribe, not minding the religion. But Nigeria is sick. Nigeria is like a car with a lot of, but we keep on hiring the worst people on the basis of tribe and religion sentiments. How will it work? Look at NNPC. Even as we talk, we've been complaining that it needs total overhauling. Because the people there do not show any sign, have the capacity to run the system. Even after removing fuel subsidy, we've not gone out from. In fact, it's like we are fast running back to what we left before. You remember years back, we stopped experiencing queues in filling stations. Now it's coming back, and coming back with speed. As we talk, there is no PMS price in Nigeria. You cannot say that as I'm going in station A, I know how much it should be, or you are going to finish station B. No, once you go in, whatever you see, you buy. You can come in now and they will write, like when I was coming out, the filling station where I bought fuel, 950 naira. Go to other states, it's 1,000 plus. And just like that. If I take it to be 1,950 naira now, I may enter another fuel station and see 1,100 or whatever. That is the way it has become. Even the Department of Petroleum Resources that we discussed before, they tinkered it without changing any of the systems. So I must tell you that the stories they are about vessels loading from this point to they have even brought in middle persons and so many bureaucratic approach that will help them cut corners. They divert all those. In fact, even as we talk, the quantity of product leaving the country illegally is another issue. If the nearby countries are getting our products, but the city cannot get it, that is an issue. Where do they get the ones they ship out, they transfer to nearby countries like Niger, Cameroon, illegally? Go to Cotonou, you see our products illegally transferred, even as we talk. If you are telling us that it's because of mother and daughter transfer and whatever, that is why we are in thunderstorm, you could get the quantity that is being moved out, then something is wrong. Let me tell you, what is happening in the power sector, or rather oil sector, is a collaboration of mindsets. And they know what they are doing. They collaborate to punish Nigeria. And except the system is overhauled, and except those in the key players in government, except they determined to do the right thing, it will continue. The first thing you do is to hire the right people, and also to make people understand that if anything, they will be held accountable. Not for them to come and produce new English. What's the next one that will come if it gets worse? They will come and tell us another gram again. They will tell you, I will have enough, don't go into panic buying, yet you see it worsening. So, continuing, so that is the question. Has it been a continuous thunderstorm every moment, every day? That is the question.
This is still Signature TV, New Day, and on our review today, of course, we'll have Mr. Chris Madoka here in the studio to discuss some of these trending issues that are making waves across Nigeria. Chris, you're welcome to the show. Always great to have you here.
Thank you, Chigi.
And you're looking really, I'm looking for the word. You look different in a good way.
Thank you very much. And you look glamorous. You look suave.
Oh my goodness!
Drapper.
This is every lady's dream to always have guys who appreciate them.
So don't worry. I will go to manage on and go in Nigeria. My mother told me the road to heaven is not something you trek away. You must die before you get there.
Absolutely.
You must die.
So this thing with Ngelale, the news broke yesterday that the young man resigned. And the way he was, coined in the Nation says presidency accepts, right? Tinubu spokesman Ngelale's resignation says his privacy should be respected. So it was that he resigned, and then the presidency has actually accepted his resignation. What are your thoughts on this development?
Ngelale is a young man, elegant, sleek, and somebody that looks good to be in Nigeria as a spokesperson.
Okay.
From one indication, if he had gone for audition, he was he's
good, tall.
And when you see the procession of presidency, you always single Ngelale out. And I remember
Not to mention, he's the youngest.
Yeah, the stint I had with him working in with the Dark Communications PLC. Ngelale also worked.
He's a journalist.
Yeah. A good reporter, damn good reporter, who can take up stories and make good of it. He can give flesh and blood to a story.
Listening to the young man, I've listened to some of his interviews. And I always knew this guy knows his onions.
He brought a new dimension to how a spokesperson of the presidency should work. Something that looks like what we see from White House, where he will boldly sit and then address the press on behalf of the presidency. for one way or the other, it didn't work out that he has to go. And we wish him well for whatever rumors that are being talked about, and whatever is they said he has brought in a new idea of, if it doesn't work out, resign honorably.
Which is not a Nigerian thing, actually.
No, it is. It's quite new, and it means we are crying. I put you in a position, if one way or the other, the people who send you to go and carry salt, suddenly turn around to become rainmakers and send rain after you. You now said, I bow.
You know,
and I bow out honorably.
The news has it that he resigned based on a vexing medical condition in the family. However, speculations have actually erupted.
These are all rumors. For whatever reason, somebody gets a job and he doesn't want to do it, and he said, I resign. There must be reason once you resign assignment. Now, for what our worry is that in Nigeria, that Ngelale said, I don't want to work again. Shouldn't make whatever anybody is making out. It's a personal decision. After all, we are not aware when he applied for a job. We didn't even know the process that brought him there. They only announced him as the press spokesperson for president. And that has worked well. And then at the point it didn't work well again, the man bowed out honorably. And that's what I'm impressed about. We said, can many other people working for the presidency?
I think you're even going too far. Even with administration, people working in agencies, ministries, you know, when the kitchen gets too hot for you in a particular office, you have the boldness, the courage to say, I'm stepping aside for whatever reasons, you know. So this is a new trend, you know, for us here in Nigeria, seeing someone who has been highly placed, say, I'm done, regardless of the fact whether he was fired and given a soft landing. In fact, Senator Shehu Sani said, now the young man can sleep, turn off his phone, and regain some weight. So he alone knows what he means.
When he accepted the job, he wasn't given as a person who is built to have weight.
No, I don't think he said that as per his physical weight.
Well, Shehu Sani is all being sarcastic.
Yes.
Because working for presidency and being the spokesperson of the president, like Tinubu, President Tinubu in the present-day Nigeria, can also drain somebody's blood and flesh. And if you say he bowed out honorably, it gives him time to reflect and then...
Do you think it's difficult, you know, being a spokesperson for this sort of administration?
You asked me a question to review. Let me ask you, do you think it's difficult to be a potter in Hellgate?
Okay.
Shakespeare wrote
so that's a rhetorical question.
Yeah, somebody said, Shakespeare said, to be a potter in Hellgate. You know what that means? Gate man in hell. You see, he said it's a difficult job. You sit down, small down, somebody knock, bang, 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 open the door. He said, who? He said, he committed suicide. Enter. Bang, 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 another person go, what happened? I fought with my wife. The wife stabbed me to death. Bang, 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 what happened? I'm a driver on Nigeria road. I'm overspeeding. And then,
or probably running from traffic officers.
And then another one, bang, bang, bang. There are many. They come. He said, what happened? We are protesting for hunger and hardship in Nigeria. We are shot by police. So working in hell as a gate man is as good as working as spokesperson for a president in any African country. I make bold to say, that's my constituency. So we salute the young man for taking that position at that young age and having drawn it to this level where he couldn't be. They say, a proverb in my place, if a fruit is ripe so much on the tree, it will drop on the ground, a fruit like that. And it was anabi kanko amache ihe juapa ihe junwapa amache on anabi ihe kanko otronan. The ones, you know, that's the thing. So the thing has gotten to that level, and we salute the courage of the young man to say, I bow out. Instead of continue stay there, we make him mess up his hands and down. Let's also attacking them.
Or is there a possibility that these spirits were actually awakened by the opposition?
Whatever that make spirits, that's why I say, no, we are not spokesperson for masquerades and spirits. But there was in Nigerian headline this morning that the spirits, masquerades, whoever, attack APC campaign trail. There has been attacks in all campaign parties and campaign trails. I am sure PDP had their share, of attacks. The deputy who returned to make those states have 2 deputies at one time on record. Were attacked. A policeman, a senior police officer, lost his life.
Killed.
Many other people have lost their life, and we predicted. Now, if the spirits have come to begin to even do the attack, it now calls for high time. APC, PDP, all the parties involved should review, because it could be another party. Now he has attacked APC, so PDP should know that whatever happened to APC can happen to you. So what did we call? Go to equity with clean hands. If we really think you are coming to serve the people, do you need the spirits to attack you before you review yourself and ask yourself a question? Are we on right track? Do we need ancestors to come back in form of spirit and masquerades to attack, to review, to make us, knock us into shape? Whatever is going up in Edo calls for
serious
deep
spiritual
reflection. And then, thank God the masquerade has stepped in to help us. So, and it's unfortunate that
the
APC...
take the spirits
APC
to wade into the matter in Edo State.
Just, Edo, it's a legendary, historic, spiritual, culturally city-state. Because if we talk about Benin...
Edo is an ancient city.
And now that's it. So when you are talking about that, even their name Edo, if you trace it, so if you are operating within that, and you did not take cognizance of the spirits and ancestors and masquerades, and then they've come to attack, we said, please, I don't know whether they know how to appease the masquerade, but then we say, the masquerade, do not attack any longer. I mean, we have learned our lesson, I think, on their behalf. They will make amends and stop all these attacks.
We are hopeful that
it's enough of physical and spiritual attack.
They will hear your plea.
No, because I'm an elder person, whenever an elderly person, blesses a kola, it looks like he has given it to the mouth of the gods. So when people like us speak, it's like giving it to the mouth of God, without any being faulted as being boasting or something.
That's all right. Government is saying it's not their responsibility.
That's what we're saying. We are not here now to say it's their responsibility. When a child is good, it resembles the mother. It's an epitome of the father.
No, it's the other way around. When a child is good, it's the father. It's the father that takes all the
people struggle
accolades.
To who will take the accolade. The fuel price in Nigeria has gone high. As far as I'm concerned, got to the point where we can't even take it any longer. So, as far as I'm concerned, anybody can push blames. It doesn't stop the fact that it is gotten to breakneck. So what they will only do, whoever, because CSOs are warned, ordinary people have warned, Nigerians have talked, even protested. NLC have come out to speak. Who else? And we're not waiting for masquerades to treat the Nigerian fuel situation like they did the politics in Edo. If that happens, it's going to be even worse. So, whoever thinks you are not involved, you allow market, Dangote came up, you didn't even allow the man do anything, you are fixing price, and now you come out this morning, after you have gagged the man
we'll get
and
to,
gone a
we'll
lot
get
of...
to Dangote's issue shortly.
No, because they're all linked.
They're all linked.
So, what are you telling us? Markets, CSOs have warned. And when CSO means civil society organizations, it includes faith-based,
non-governmental,
community-based, non-government organization, activists, analysts, people who have interest and function in this country, have come together under CSO's voice to say they predict trouble. They are not fortune tellers, but you don't need a fortune teller to tell you that Nigeria is drifting to the point of either implosion or explosion.
Well, it's obvious.
It's obvious.
Even Bill Gates has actually come out to say that Nigerian economy has actually stagnated.
Two things are involved when an economy like Nigeria, almost one of the fastest growing in Africa, stagnate within a very short time. Because we are at the presidency saying that why did they, if you are not involved, why are you paying subsidy? Why are you removing subsidy? Why are you not in control of crude oil stealing and selling? And only when a small refinery came up, you went there, say you're NNPCL, is Dangote part of
stifling the whole
NNPCL?
process.
So who are they talking to? Nigerians know where their problems are coming from. So if you go reach there and you say you are not the cause of our problem, you explain. But don't wait until 200 million Nigerians come to your doorstep before you explain. Begin now to tell us, because I, Chris Maduka, do not accept the fact that the government do not have direct or indirect responsibility of what is happening with our fuel situation. I mean, the oil and gas sector in Nigeria is 100% controlled by federal government. And our president is the Minister of Petroleum. So if they fail, they fail. If they work well, they take the credit. Let nobody, all this distraction and all. The best thing is for NNPCL, the minister, the presidency, all the line of duties come together and start thinking and brainstorming. Because Nigeria is not the first time in history, the first country to face economic stagnation. Then we put heads together and find a way. Only debt is what does not have solution. And that's why Nigerians are fighting to be alive, so because we know one day it's get better. But it's getting worse. We are looking for light at the end of tunnel soon.
Okay, Chris, we are quickly running out of time, but we have to take this headline on the Sunday Punch. On NNPC conditions, Dangote refinery may dump local market and export petrol.
Dangote is a thorough businessman. And he won't invest in this much in Nigeria just to be, people are toying around with their, if you are an NPCL, you're a civil servant, you're paid by Nigerian money, and the one you even make from what you did not make, that's your business. Dangote cannot establish a refinery like the one he put in Lagos, and you come back and doing this. If he gets, he will protect himself. He will protect his investment. If his product is not sellable in Nigeria, he will export it. So what we are saying is that whoever is pushing him to do that is also contributing to our problem. So we should be even asking NNPCL to find a way of working with the man so that he won't look outside. But he's a businessman. If it does not work for him, wars will work. So he's looking for market. If 200 million Nigerians are not good enough because somebody has stepped in there to block the market, it's not good for him.
I mean, we have been so hopeful.
Countries like Angola.
Waiting for his product to hit the
Like
Nigerian
Angola,
markets.
There are countries in West Africa alone who are ready to pay in dollars for fuel, for a refined product of crude or gas and oil. So Nigerians are playing with their life. If you do not, there's a proverb in my place, if a child refuses food, the other child there beside will eat. I mean, if Nigeria does not like a Dangote's refined product, the man will sell it to another country and collect his money. He's not working on that. He's not a staff of NNPCL. No, where you are.
The Nigerian people are left to suffer the brunt of.
Of course, when two elephants are fighting, the grasses.
It's pathetic, but we're still hopeful. That will be the more to take today.
NAMs are upped out of protest.
They have.
So many.
I wish we had time to talk about NAMs, but let's leave it for some other time.
They have a reason, but they will come back. Some of their members, we are parents to them. They are Nigerian Association of Nigerian Students.
Yes.
So if they opt out of protest, they come back and protest in the family, and we work it out.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's always fun having you in the studio to talk about things. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, my dear.
All right, so that's the much we'll take on review on New Day today. Don't forget, New Day continues right after the break. Don't go anywhere.